Now, if you're in the market for a TentBox tent, or in particular a TentBox Lite XL, then do not go anywhere. You are in absolutely the right place. I've had this tent now for about 15 months, and I did do a really long review video on it last year, just a couple of months after I bought the tent. But since then, we've been on some great trips and some great adventures, including a road trip around Europe, and I recently took the tent down to Euro Disney. But I felt it was about time that I updated that review video with my latest thoughts and improvements I've made to the tent, and I guess the answer to the most important question, would I buy it again? So stay with me, we'll get straight into it. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris here, and I firstly just wanted to say welcome to this video. Hey, what's going on? Huh? Welcome to this video, and also welcome to the channel if you're new to finding me on YouTube, and if you've been following for a little while and subscribing for a little while, then welcome back. This is my 15-month review video of my TentBox Lite XL. I'm currently down at the Round Hill campsite in New Forest. I've actually come down to do some filming, and I'm going to be doing some review videos for the Classic 2.0 as well as the Cargo 2.0. But I have an evening with my tent. The sun is getting lower, and I thought, you know what it is, while I've still got an hour of daylight, I'll do a quick updated review video on this tent. Now, like I've mentioned, I did already review this tent last year when I got it. So after watching this video, it's certainly worth finding that on this channel, and I'll put a little card up in the corner as well, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this video to make it easy for you. Now, that initial video is a lot longer, a lot more in depth. It shows me setting up the tent and all the ins and outs of the tent. I'm not going to do that this time. This is more my sort of 15 months later thoughts, how I found it, as well as a few other bits and bobs. Now, I'm just going to say straight off the bat, I love this tent. I actually, for those of you who don't know, I used to have a TentBox Cargo. It was the older model of Cargo, not the new Cargo 2.0 that's out, but it was actually an older version of the Cargo 1.0 that I bought in 2020. I actually changed to this tent last year in 2023. There was a couple of main reasons that I did that, and I do cover this more in depth in that initial review video that I spoke about earlier. But the two main reasons for me changing was that this is a bigger tent than what the Cargo was, and the new Cargo is. This is a 4-person tent, which is perfect for families with young kids, or even couples with dogs and things like that. Now, in this tent, it's only ever me and my wife, or on this particular trip, it's just me. But I'm not going to lie to you, I love having the extra space inside the tent. I'm also 6'3", which meant that in my old TentBox Cargo, I couldn't really stretch out fully, like my feet were touching the bottom. And it'll be interesting to see in a couple of days' time how I find the new Cargo 2.0 compared to this tent, which I've had now for a little while. You have to consider that the Classic and the Cargo take a lot less time to set up. You know, they can pop them up in 30 seconds, whereas the Lite models, they do take a lot longer. And a lot of people who pick the Cargo and the Classic do so for that convenient setup time. But this literally takes about 4 minutes to set up instead of 30 to 45 seconds. You know, it's not that much more. And when you go away camping, the chances are you've got lots of time on your hands anyway. So I feel, for me, the benefit of the extra space inside the tent far outweighs the slightly speedier setup time. But again, each to their own. That's just my opinion, and obviously I'm coming at it from a point of view of I'm 6'3", I'm quite tall. I really benefit from that extra length inside the tent. You know, I can lie on my back and my feet don't touch, so I can sleep on my back and my feet don't touch the bottom. I can even stretch out and lie on my front. I like to fall asleep on my front, just kind of like this, and my toes don't touch the bottom. So having that extra length in the tent really, really does make a difference to me personally. And from that point of view, I'll happily take that in exchange for a slightly longer setup time. But to be honest with you, again, the setup time doesn't bother me. You know, I got to this campsite and I had everything set up in about 3 or 4 minutes. It's not that long. Now, the second reason that I decided to get this tent in the first place was because of the living pod attachment that was going to be coming out. Now, when I made my initial review video of this tent last year, the living pod wasn't available at that time, but I've since made a living pod review video, a separate video of the living pod for the Lite XL and the Lite 2.0. Again, I'll put a little card in the corner, and you'll also be able to find that review video on this channel. The living pod is basically an enclosed space around the tent. So you set up an attachment on here and it gives you an enclosed space where you can basically relax if the weather's not great. You know, you can cook, you can clean, you can, if it's a rainy night, you can just set up like a little portable toilet in there and you don't have to get wet through coming outside. That was why I wanted this tent in the first place. Now, obviously that was 15 months ago. Since then, the new cargo and classic tents do have living pod attachments for them, as well as the awning tunnels. And I'm going to be reviewing the awning tunnels over the next few days. So keep an eye on the channel. There'll be a lot of other videos there. But just focusing back on the XL, the living pod was one of the main reasons why I decided to switch to this tent. And again, I've said this in my living pod review video that I am so happy with my decision to do that. The enclosed space is great. It gives you that room just to be able to relax with a bit of privacy, or like I said, if it's raining, you can basically just sit there and chill and you don't have to get wet through. I took this tent box down to Paris, down to Euro Disney recently, and the night that I arrived at my campsite, it was absolutely chucking it down. But I set up the living pod and I got it configured in a way where I just sat there all evening. I was undercover and it was lovely just sitting there and watching the rain outside. So for those two reasons, I am very, very happy with my decisions to go for the XL. You know, those reasons as to, you know, going for a bigger tent, how would that be? Would I get the benefit being 6'3"? I'm pleased to say I do get the benefit. And also for the living pod, I'm really glad that I went for the XL and the living pod. Like I said, the other models of tents now do have the living pod attachments, but I still love this tent. And what's interesting is that a lot of people pick the classic and the cargo because it sits on top of on top of your car and just pops up and everything is confined within the vehicle space, whereas with the light models they fold off the car. Now again, I'm going to cover these points in my classic and cargo review videos, which I'm going to be doing over the next few days, but I just really like how my XL flips off the car because you've got that space underneath to sit and relax. Even without the living pod setup, I can still sit out underneath and just relax. And what we do is we tend to hang sort of like washing and things like that on the attachments underneath the tent. So yeah, I'm really happy with those two reasons as to why I went for the XL. Now, I wanted to mention some of the improvements I've made to the XL since I bought it. And one of the big improvements that we decided to do was introduce a mattress topper. Now, the mattress topper we got was from Dunelm, and I've actually made a short video on this on the YouTube channel. It's called the Cooler Than Mattress Topper, and it basically fits perfectly into the XL. It's a little bit short on the length end, but that doesn't matter. But it's perfect width, and the other great thing about it is that you can actually fold it away inside the tent and store it inside the tent when you're packing it away, so you don't need to take the topper out every single time. You can just leave it in there with the existing mattress. Now, some people don't use mattress toppers, some people use self-inflating mattresses. There's a few different options out there. I just went for the topper because I found it really, really comfortable. Now, the included mattress in the TentBox tent is a little bit firm for me, so I found the topper just takes the edge off but makes it really, really comfortable, and it's just like us sleeping. For us, it's just like sleeping on the bed at home. Super comfortable. And we have a very expensive mattress at home because I've got to watch my back. So when I sleep in here, I'm now getting like a perfect night's sleep every single time. So yes, definitely I would recommend getting the mattress topper. It makes a big difference, and it's literally like, together with the size of this tent and the comfort, it's made it literally, it feels like a penthouse. It really, really does. Now, one of the other improvements I've made to this tent is actually adding some fairy lights inside the tent. I've used a few different options over the years. I've used festoon lights, I've used the included fairy lights that came with the tent box, but they weren't very big. So earlier this year, I bought some lights, fairy lights off Amazon. They're battery powered, and I'll put a link to them in the description to this video. And they're great. They literally fill out the whole tent and they provide so much light inside. Again, you know, I don't want something that's super powerful. I just want something that's going to light everything up, allow me to see what I'm doing, and also it really makes it nice and cozy, particularly when you've got like a rainy night and it's raining outside, but inside it's just nice and cozy and it's lovely and relaxing, and yeah, it's just lovely. It's really, really nice. One other thing I wanted to mention really quickly was just about how this tent's held up in the wind and the rain. We've camped in some crazy conditions in this tent. We were in Germany last year and we camped in a thunderstorm, as we did in Switzerland and France. No problems with this tent, no leaking or anything like that. And I've camped in some heavy winds earlier this year, and yes, it does move around a little bit. Some people use earplugs. I just have like a sleeping mask with some speakers in it. That did the job, no problem whatsoever. Like, you know, yes, it can be a little bit noisy on a windy night, but that can be pretty much any tent. So I wouldn't put that down as a negative of the Lite XL or any TentBox model. It is what it is. But in terms of the rain, it does a really, really good job, and I've not had any leaks whatsoever so far. And that also goes for condensation. I've had zero condensation in this tent, not a single drop while I've had this tent in 15 months. So there's no issues with condensation. See a lot of people saying, oh, like, do I need to get a condensation mat? I've had not even a drop of condensation. Now, one other thing I want to mention really, really quickly, and this is more of an update, is I've been getting a lot of questions from people saying to me, oh, I've just got my Lite XL and it doesn't have any outer straps on. Well, at the back end of 2023, TentBox decided to do away with the outer straps for the outer cover. So now on the new XLs, you basically don't have the outer straps. You've just got a cover and it zips all the way around. But I just thought I'd mention that because I've had quite a few people messaging me about that and asking me what's going on. And like I said, I just, you know, I thought I'd address that while it's on my mind. So that's pretty much it from me. I just wanted to kind of cover the important things I've found about the tent, and I guess that all-important question of, would I buy it again? Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I'm down here to film the review videos for the Classic 2.0 and the Cargo 2.0. Now, if you're thinking about going for the Classic or the Cargo 2.0s, then you need to check out those videos on my channel, and I'm going to cover those tents in more detail, but I'll also be talking a little bit about how they compare to this tent. But as I sit right now, I am very, very happy with this tent, and I would highly recommend it for, you know, young families. You're gonna need a 4-person tent. And the question I often see asked is, does it really sleep 4 people? Like, can it sleep 4 adults? Yes, it can sleep 4 adults. We only use it with me and my wife, like I mentioned, so we've got lots of room in there, but it can absolutely sleep 4 people. But even if you're a couple and you're thinking, you know, should I get the XL or should I get the Lite 2.0? I've seen so many people who've bought the Lite 2.0 and wished they got the XL, but I've never met anybody or seen anybody online say, I got the XL and I wish I'd bought the 2.0. I've never seen that. So if you're able to and you have the money, I would highly recommend that you go for the XL over the Lite 2.0 if you can justify the difference. It's lovely having the extra space. So that's it from me. Before I leave you, I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me. As always, with every TentBox video that I have, if you head into the description for the video, you will find a link through to my website where you'll be able to access a discount code to use if you're going to buy your own TentBox. Click the link in the description to this video, head to my website, and there's another video just explaining a little bit more detail about how that works. So yes, enjoy a discount on me and enjoy your new tent if you decide to get one, and hopefully at some point I will see you on the road in the future. So that's it from me. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time.